Welcome to the Fantasy Champions Fantasy Football Podcast. Here's your host, Morgan Colby and Rick Lemon.
What is cracking? What's up? Welcome to Fantasy Champions Fantasy Football Podcast.
You say that faster and faster every week.
Yeah, it's true. try to make it as fast as it can be. It's Thursday, November 21st. My name is Morgan Colby. I got Rick Lemon right across from me. Tonight we have a Thursday night football game, and it's actually not a bad game. I am excited to watch it.
Yeah, I'm gonna watch it.
I need DeAndre Hopkins to get 100 million points.
And I need Deshaun Watson to get 200 million points.
You know what's going to happen in this game? It's Thursday night football. The Houston Texans are at home, coming off a pretty bad loss to the Baltimore Ravens.
Mm-hmm.
They need a win. So I think good things are going to happen fantasy-wise for the Houston Texans. And then I think Jacoby Brissett's going to throw 3 picks.
Or because it's a must-win for Houston, they're going to choke.
Yeah, that's true. They do that quite frequently.
They do choke a lot.
Game. It is Week 12. And we are going to discuss some more matchup breakdowns, ones that we did not talk about on yesterday's podcast. We also will give you our starts and sits for the week. Before you get into that and get into the news, check out our website at thefantasychampions.com. Follow us on Twitter at the FFChamps, on Instagram at thefantasychampions. Like us on Facebook at facebook.com/thefantasychampions. Subscribe wherever you listen. Click the bell on YouTube for notifications. Leave a review right now. And share this podcast with your friends. Let's get to some news. There was a lot of interesting non-injury related news this week, so I feel like it's not been a slow week.
Yeah.
So let's get to that because it all happened on Wednesday after we recorded our podcast. The Dolphins waived Mark Walton. So Mark Walton went from I'll talk about why in a second.
Yeah, there's
but Mark Walton went from third string running back to waiver wire pickup of the week, to trash, to not on a team anymore. And there's a reason behind that. Even
what's
though
the reason?
It should be because he's trash, but it's also because he's trash. So he got his girlfriend pregnant. I'm assuming that his girlfriend said, or a woman. I don't know if there's any relationship there, but the woman, I guess, told Mark Walton what was going on, said, I'm pregnant, and then he kind of beat the crap out of her.
Well,
and that would do it.
Yeah,
it's disgusting.
Yeah.
It's gross. And he should never play in the NFL again. This also is a string of incidences where he's been arrested 4 times in the last year, I guess. So I question...
Wait, hold on a second. Can you repeat that?
He was arrested 4 times this year. I don't know the reasoning on the other ones, but he was arrested for this particular one, and there was 3 other situations. And yet those other 3 other situations happened, and Mark Walton was still on the Dolphins.
Wow. And it's not like he was good, and they kept it under the radar.
Yeah.
Like he was
that's
just a crappy player that's just a crappy person.
So Mark Walton is no longer on the Dolphins. I'm assuming that he will no longer play in the NFL ever again. So I never am going to hear the name Mark Walton again. Antonio Brown on Twitter wrote up a nice apology letter to Robert Kraft on Twitter. He you know what? You want me to bring up the tweet?
Go ahead.
Because I will bring up the tweet.
I know
for you.
You saw this tweet and then you just like
I got sweaty. I did. I got
your pants right off.
I took my pants right off. So he said, Mr. Kraft. Oh no, that was the last time he tweeted. I thought he pinned it. That would be interesting. Mr. Kraft, I apologize sincerely to you and your organization. All I wanted to be was an asset to the organization. Sorry for the bad media and the drama. Thank you sincerely, AB. Now, Antonio Brown has apologized to Mr. Kraft. Mr. Kraft is what's holding the Patriots back from signing Antonio Brown. Do you think this patches any bridges or repairs? Antonio Brown really seems like he wants to be on the Patriots, so desperately.
I think he just wants to play, and the Patriots would probably be, obviously the best spot, but
it would be the best spot. But also, I feel like they're the only team in the NFL at this point that would bring in Antonio Brown.
Yeah, either them or like the Browns. some like
true.
random crappy team.
My goodness, Jarvis Landry, Odell Beckham Jr., and Antonio Brown, and they would all completely
And they score
blow.
16 points a game.
Yeah, 16 points a game.
Not fantasy-wise, like team.
Do you think there is any chance that Antonio Brown signs with the Patriots even after this?
It's
The Patriots, here's the thing.
just by the way their offense is played, I would give it like a 5% chance.
We joked around about this on our Tuesday show, I believe, about Antonio Brown. I don't know why we brought him up or the last time we mentioned him.
Yeah.
But Antonio, this might have been last week. But the situation with Antonio Brown is rather interesting. And we said Robert Kraft, despite saying he would stand up for like what's right and all that stuff and being like, all right, I can't do that. That's bad. I don't want that on
If
my
they
team."
suck enough.
Yeah, and it's like if they suck offensively enough, Robert Kraft will come around. It's all about winning Super Bowls in New England. So I'm thinking that Antonio Brown might sign. If he goes back to the Pats, I don't know. Maybe he's actually a good fantasy asset rest of season. But I doubt that happens. Next year, maybe.
I don't think it's going to happen.
But this year, no. Rob Gronkowski has no plans to return to football this year. He had a big announcement on Tuesday, and it was the fact that he was having a Super Bowl party in Miami this year with Diplo.
Turn up.
And many other artists. I'm not advertising for Gronk's party, but
I am.
it sounds pretty.
Be there or be square. Let's go.
He's like, yeah, you need to be there. He also was spotted dancing with the Laker girls last night. No, I was like on the court, like with them.
Oh, like he was
at halftime or something like that. In
like
like
at the
full
Lakers game.
Yeah. So Gronk is living his best life. What are you doing? Mike Tomlin said he doesn't know about the availability of James Conner this week for Week 12. He also said Juju Smith-Schuster is in the league's concussion protocol and will not play this week against the Bengals as well. So we'll talk about Jalen Samuels later. And if you have James Washington, it might also be a good idea to fire him up.
Yeah.
Ian Rappaport reports that Tyreek Hill's hamstring injury was deemed, quote, minor, unquote. Now, I'm not one to root for injuries, but I was facing Tyreek Hill, so I did benefit from Tyreek Hill having a hamstring injury. Now, they're saying that Tyreek Hill's hamstring, if you are concerned, they're saying it is a preseason hamstring injury is what they referred to it as. So it's something that they could come back from and be fine. The big thing is that Antonio Brown's 90% of his success in the NFL is having the ability to run
Do you mean Tyreek Hill?
2-3-3. Tyreek Hill. What did I say?
Antonio Brown.
Wow.
You got someone on your mind, don't you?
I do. Tyreek Hill's main ability in the NFL is to run 2.33, 40-yard dash. So he runs very fast.
Yeah.
Gets past everyone, and then he could turn a slant route into a 70-yard touchdown anytime he wants. So to me, Tyreek Hill having a hamstring injury, even though it's minor, hampers his ability to run because he's obviously going to be gingerly running on that leg. Now we'll see this week if it really does matter.
If I was in control of the Chiefs and this was Madden, I probably would not play Tyreek Hill this week.
This was Madden. I actually don't disagree.
I'd be
with
cautious with them if I was Kansas City.
I would hold them out for a week or two just to see what happens.
I mean, they're going to be fine.
This
They
is a
need him for the long
situation.
run.
If he plays this week, you got to play him.
Oh, of course.
But just keep an eye on the situation. You don't want it to be one of those things where you forget to pull him out of your lineup and you're just completely devastated. I believe they're on a bye week. So yes.
Yeah, I think so.
Just keep an eye on the situation. So he does get an extra time to heal up. Doug Marrone believes Leonard Fournette touched the ball too few times last week. He only had 15 touches compared to his average of 26 a game. So Doug Marrone is probably going to get Leonard Fournette the ball a little bit more this week. He also said in that quote that in order to have a successful passing game, you got to establish the run. So if you're a Leonard Fournette owner, I guess that gets you excited.
Are they playing this week?
I don't know. The Colts.
They play them last week?
I'm sorry. Not the Colts. I have no idea.
I'll pull it up.
Tennessee.
Oh, that's not great.
Austin Hooper will not play Week 12 against the Bucks. He is ruled out for this week. I'm assuming that he'll be out one more week, and then
maybe
he should be okay.
Yeah.
Sterling Shepard remains in the league's concussion protocol. but he did practice in full on Wednesday. So I'm thinking if they pull him completely off the injury report and he comes out of the league's concussion protocol, he will play this week. But if he's still in concussion protocol by Friday, I think they're hoping it could go all the way into Sunday that he's still in the league's concussion protocol, and then if they pull him off the concussion protocol, he can play. I think that's what they're preparing for.
That's interesting, but...
Yeah. But anyway, just keep an eye on that situation. I forgot who they're playing.
I think it's the Bears.
I'm sure we...
It is the Bears.
I think we talked about it on the last episode.
Yeah.
And then George Kittle, in the final piece of news, remained sidelined at Wednesday's practice. He has been out for the last 2 games. I believe they played on Thursday night, and then he missed that game. Or maybe it was a Monday night, missed that game.
Yeah, it was a primetime game.
So anyway, George Kittle missed 2 straight games now. If he misses 3,
gosh,
this should be interesting. So that's all we got for the news. Is there anything? I always give you the opportunity, and then you remember after the show.
I can bring up, since he's on my team, Evan Ingram did not practice Wednesday.
Okay.
So if you have Evan Ingram and you need to start him this week with Travis Kelce and Hunter Henry on buys, and I think there's another big tight end that's on a buy too.
This is
Evan Ingram's top when he was out there was a top 6 tight end.
This has been the problem with Evan Ingram. I'm going to take this into account in the offseason now.
Yeah, he only plays like 12 games a year.
Like 12 games a year, maybe 10.
Yeah,
and it's like he's out a lot.
When he's out there, he's pretty solid.
It's like how much you gonna? I mean, I guess for 10 really good games
at the tight end position,
you want to pay the price. I don't know. Yeah. So let's move into our week 8 matchups. I mean, week 12 matchups. My goodness.
Wow, that was.
I took
only a few weeks off.
Yeah, that was 4 weeks ago. Sorry, guys. Our week 12 matchups. We're gonna start off with the Buccaneers and the Colts. Do you know the over/under for that game?
Oh gosh, I have to.
I mean, the Buccaneers and the Falcons. My goodness,
it's 51.5.
I'm
now.
wrecking this.
It's
Tyreek Hill's Antonio Brown, and the Bucs are playing the Colts this week.
I'd rather watch the Bucs and Colts, to be honest.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, actually,
but
the Falcons have been playing.
These guys are fighting.
Yeah.
For 4th place in the NFC
They're
South.
fighting for a 6-10 record
for that third spot in the NFC South right now. They're duking it out. So we got on one side Jameis Winston going up against Atlanta. This is as good a matchup as you can get. Jameis Winston. Okay, I have a curious question.
Yeah.
This popped into my head the other day because I am a Chris Godwin owner.
Okay.
These are the metrics for Jameis Winston so far this year. 3,000 yards.
Okay.
That's
That's
pretty
not bad.
good. With 5,
Bad.
6 games left, that's pretty good. He's probably going to reach 4,000. That's good.
Yeah, that's good.
19 touchdowns. Oh, that's good.
That's
Same
good.
amount as
That's
Patrick
pretty
Mahomes.
solid.
Same amount as Patrick
Yeah,
Mahomes.
even though Mahomes has missed time, but yeah.
Shut up. And he's thrown 18 interceptions.
Oh,
So-
that's a lot, isn't it?
Yeah, that's quite a few. Eli Manning.
What's his completion percentage
I
too?
have no idea.
I bet you it's under 60. I could bet you money it's under 60. I have no idea what it is, but
See, he's not really all that inaccurate in terms of passing the football. It's more or less just his decision making. He throws it to the wrong people at the wrong times. His completion percentage this year is 59%.
oh, I almost lost
You
that.
almost lost it.
Give me my money though.
Yeah, so it's so funny to see that this guy. You want to hear his career numbers just really fast: 17,000 yards, 107 touchdowns, and 76 interceptions.
That's a lot.
That's a lot of interceptions. So Winston against Atlanta is a good play, but the thought that popped into my mind was the opportunity of him potentially being benched and the ramifications that would have on guys like Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. Who would they?
That would actually be terrible if you have one of those guys.
Who would be? Because they have a crap schedule rest of season. But who would be the guy that replaces?
I don't know.
Jameis Winston, if he would, because they had Fitzmagic last year, who was in and out.
Who was
They've
just
really
as good as Winston,
stuck
if not
with.
better.
I mean, I commend Bruce Arians for sticking with Winston and showing that he has confidence in him. But how long does this go on for?
If this might be last week, if they have a bad week, I'd consider pulling the plug on Winston. If I was the coach. Who's their backup?
Such a great fan. I'm looking it up right now. He's such a great fantasy asset, though.
Terrible quarterback.
Terrible quarterback. Ryan Griffin the brother of Ryan Griffin from the Jets. So he plays quarterback for the Bucks and tight end for the Jets. I don't know who that is. I'm not gonna lie.
I have no idea.
Colin Kaepernick, maybe.
Oh, did they go to the?
He's 30 years old.
He's 30. Winston is 30.
No. Winston's 25. Ryan Griffin's 30.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, holy.
So I don't have any metrics on him, but he is pretty old.
Yeah.
That would be very bad for Chris Godwin. Mike Evans was. Yeah, no, that'd be bad for. That'd be bad for both. Bad for both.
Bad for both.
This has led me to a situation where it's like maybe you should. I don't think they're going to bench Winston. I really don't. I think they're going to ride. You're 3-7.
Yeah, I think they
unless they shut Winston down and say we're going to keep this kid's confidence.
They're going to ride
alive.
him the rest of the year, I think, and then in the offseason
But it just popped into my mind because right now, like usually when you start pulling your quarterback for a 30-year-old backup, it's because you're panicking about your job. But right now, I don't think Bruce Arians is panicking about his job. He's actually done a relatively good job with this offense. I just think he needs a new quarterback. The whole offense keeps talking about how they like Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, the running backs, everyone, including Bruce Arians, keeps talking about how you have all this talent, and Jameis Winston said it too. You have all this talent, and you continue to blow. I'm like, it's like how do you fix it?
Yeah, I mean, Winston needs to stop throwing picks, and
he's just turning the ball over.
Their defense also isn't that good.
If they stopped turning the ball over, they wouldn't be 3-7. But anyway, Winston's a good play against Atlanta. We got Matt Ryan on the other side against Tampa Bay. That is also a good matchup for Matt Ryan. So in this game, I would expect, unless the Atlanta Falcons have become a better defense.
Yeah, which seems like they have the last 2 weeks.
Then Jameis Winston against Atlanta might have a bad day. I don't think that will happen. But if you so desperately need... Now, Tampa is in Atlanta, so that's not...
Yeah, but I mean, this year it doesn't really matter. Winston's throwing 50 passes either way. So
yeah, so in an easy matchup, you're throwing 40 to 50 passes. Like you'll be all right. So I like both of them. Do you have any quandaries with that?
No, I like both of those guys too.
Okay, now later. I saw a tweet today, and I wish I should write this crap down when I see it. But Ronald Jones was announced 3 weeks ago as the starting running back for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Oh, he's going to get his opportunity. He's good. And then he had an 18-point game. Or maybe that was 2 weeks ago. I don't know. His last 3 weeks, he has dropped in his snap percentage rather dramatically. It went from 55% to like 37%.
Oh, who would have guessed that would happen?
But I don't know where it's going because Peyton Barber hasn't been getting any... Like
the Buccaneers...
Ronald Jones, I think, had 7 carries last week. And I was like, oh, what the hell are they doing? Ronald Jones has 7 carries. And I went to go see where they were. And Peyton Barber had 0 carries. So they just didn't run the football.
That's what I'm saying. Winston throws... I think he threw like close to 60 passes last week. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. I do like Ronald Jones. And I talked about how it could be a second half of the year breakout situation for him. Because the game where he scored 18 fantasy points, he was trash.
Yeah.
On the ground, at least. Through the air, is pretty good. But... anyway, Ronald Jones against Atlanta. Do you like that?
I do, but it's so like I don't know. I just don't trust.
I wish I had the matchup calendar in front of me.
I do not trust anything involving the Buccaneers running game.
I don't either. So I'm gonna say if you have Ronald Jones, just to sit him for this week.
It is a good matchup though.
I would rather sit him.
And you might need him because it's the last of the bye.
Yeah, it's true. That's tough. Hold on, I'm trying to see the matchup calendar because I know the Falcons have been slightly better against the run this year.
They have, but I still think they're at least bottom half in the league. Probably like bottom 12. Like my guess is they rank like around like 20.
We got to move on
to 30.
I want to know. I want to know.
You know, I could have pulled this up for you 2 seconds ago. Let's see. I'm starting right now, and let's see if I can get it before you.
I think, Ronald Jones right now is, Atlanta's the number 17 against the run.
Oh, that is better than I thought.
Yeah, so anyway, Ronald Jones is okay matchup if you definitely need him, but I don't know. You don't know what you're going to get. This could be a game where Atlanta scores 30 points and Tampa's like, 35-35, and it just goes back and forth.
Right, which is what I think it's going to be. But
what was the over-under, 50.5?
51.5.
So, it's going to be high scoring. And then as far as... So, I don't know if Devonta Freeman's going to come back. Devonta Freeman against the Bucks the Bucs have given up, I think, the third least fantasy points to running backs. So this is a bad week for any running back for the Falcons. For the Falcons. So if Devonta Freeman plays, I'm not really feeling good about that. I might sit him,
even though it's at home against.
Yeah. Do you disagree with that?
I know Tampa has been good against the run, but I just feel like I don't know. When I think of Tampa's defense, I still think they absolutely stink. But I know they have been good against the run this year. So I guess you're right.
Okay, Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, obviously both starts, and OJ Howard is a sit. If you fell in love with
Cameron Brate,
if you fell in love with Cameron Brate, don't.
Everybody's saying, "Oh, OJ Howard's back! Woohoo!" Yeah, he had 10 fantasy points, everybody, and then he came out the next week and got 0 points. What a clown! I hate OJ Howard.
It's because you drafted him. What did I tell you about drafting tight ends? I didn't draft a tight end, and I got a top 5 one right now.
I had Austin Hooper, Hunter Henry, and Evan Ingram on my team.
Yeah, but
so I'm fine with tight ends.
You know what? I'm sorry. I did draft a tight end. In the last round, I drafted Austin Hooper and then dropped him for Mark Andrews and then dropped Mark Andrews for Darren Wall. I
drafted OJ Howard, but it wasn't. He fell into like the 9th round, so I was like, I have to draft him.
I was panic dropping like tight ends before the season started.
Yeah. But I wouldn't have drafted OJ Howard if he was early. He just fell into my lap, and I was like, "Wow, the 4th ranked tight end is in the 9th round."
I was thinking like, okay, I could go with a tight end in like the 10th or 11th round, like if it was David Njoku or something like that.
If OJ Howard fell if I didn't pick him in our draft, would you have taken OJ Howard in round 10?
Yeah, probably.
Considering he was supposed to be like a late.
But I also told you when I was doing research that Bruce Arians doesn't like to throw to tight ends. That was a common thing that we kept on seeing. But we ignored it. Next time, don't ignore the numbers.
I bought into the hype.
Yeah, it's true. So then you got Julio Jones, obvious start. Calvin Ridley?
I'll talk about him later.
Okay. And then there's this new Graham kid. Couldn't tell you what his first name is.
It's not Jimmy.
Tight end for in replace of.
Oh, I saw him play. He plays the exact same way as Hooper. Like they just got another white stiff to play tight end.
It's true. Let's move on to Panthers at Saints. What's the over/under for that game?
Dude, why you make me do this? It's 47.
Sorry, it's so I can find the matchup on my freaking computer. So we got Kyle Allen, obviously set. And then Drew Brees, do you like him against Carolina or no?
It's not a great matchup. I'd rather go elsewhere.
Okay. We got Christian McCaffrey start. And then on the other side, Alvin Kamara start. DJ Moore or Curtis Samuel, either one. At this point, Curtis Samuel's not worth a start. The only reason why Curtis Samuel is anywhere near being on teams right now is because he's caught 4 touchdowns this year.
Yeah.
DJ Moore has 1, but he has 779
Honestly,
yards.
This matchup is not good, and the way Kyle Allen has played the last few weeks, I don't start either of these guys.
Okay. He's like Jameis Winston light over here with 10 touchdowns and 9 interceptions. I wouldn't start either. Do you like Greg Olsen?
No.
Okay. And then we have Mike Thomas. Obviously, he's a monster, averaging 19.9 points per game this year. Start him. And I don't think there's anyone else in this game. Unless you really wanted to talk about
Jared Cook's probably not a start either.
Let's talk about the Seahawks at the Eagles. This is 1 o'clock, right?
Yep.
There's only 2 4 o'clock games this week, which
that is
relatively disappointing.
Interesting.
Yeah. I'm trying to find the Seahawks game. Give me a second.
Well, we know who their quarterback is, bro. It's Russell Wilson.
I can't think on the fly when I'm looking for something. I just can't do it. Yeah, Russell Wilson, start.
Even though it's a tough matchup?
No, it's not a tough matchup against Philly. You kidding me?
Oh, actually, yeah, I'm tripping. I was in my head. I'm like, oh, Philly's got like really good pass.
You're going back to 2018.
Yeah,
where they had a bad rush defense and a good pass defense. Start him. What about Carson Wentz against Seattle? Seattle has given up the 20th most fantasy points to quarterbacks this year. Mm-hmm. I mean, the 20th least fantasy points to quarterbacks this year, I should say. It's a good matchup.
It is.
But he has been
not great.
Blah this season. Like, he's been the picture of generic.
Oh, so I think this game got flexed to Sunday night.
It did?
Yeah.
Okay, that's ridiculous. I don't know why they would do that. 8-2 to 5-5.
Well, it is Eagles Seahawks. I mean, should be a good game.
Back the truck up. Yeah,
Am I
you're
messing
right.
with you? Okay.
Yeah,
right.
sorry, you're good. You're good. What was
But
the
anyway.
OG 820 game? That was Cowboys. No, it was
was-
Packers at 49ers. Why did they flex that?
What?
What? That doesn't.
Oh, maybe.
Make any,
Okay, so maybe it's
they
the other way
flexed
around.
The Packers.
Yeah.
All right, whatever.
We'll find out Sunday.
Chris Carson is a start.
Yeah.
Agreed.
I would start Chris.
What about Mr.
Carson wins.
Oh, we never talked about Carson.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
I was asking about Chris Carson.
Yeah, I mean Chris Carson is a start. Yeah.
Yeah.
But Carson Wentz. Maybe did you talk about him? I just ignored you because I was looking at the.
Yes.
Well, for my opinion, Carson Wentz I would start. Chris Carson I would start. Okay, continue.
Okay.
Even though it's a tough match.
What about Jordan Howard and Miles Sanders?
I start Jay Ajayi, duh.
And then Jay Ajayi.
Yeah, I don't want to start any of them.
This is a cluster. I don't think Jordan Howard plays this week. This is a cluster frick at a backfield. I think my assumption would be that Miles Sanders will get the majority of the work in this game.
Yes.
That would be my assumption.
And
If Jordan Howard doesn't play. If Jordan Howard plays, it's going to be a Mod Podge.
if
I
Jordan,
don't want
yeah,
anything to do with
if
it.
Jordan Howard plays, I'm not starting anybody. If Jordan Howard doesn't play, I consider starting Miles Sanders if you need him.
Right. Lockett,
Yep.
Metcalf.
No.
Okay. Not even.
No, not with Josh Gordon there now. And I think he's going to play more this week. They're coming off a bye in the first week.
That hurts my soul a little bit because I watched Josh Gordon. He had like 2 targets for 2 catches.
And they were both on third down. Clutch catches.
And then I don't believe Alshon Jeffrey is going to play this week. So it's Nelson Aguilar and Jordan Matthews. Yeah, I don't want to start either. Zach Ertz is a good play. And then Jacob Hollister, we talked about 2 weeks ago on our waiver wire show. And we said he's going on his bye. You can pick him up now and get ahead of the 8 ball, or you can wait until next week when no one knows he's there, and you can pick him up then.
People have been picking him up.
People have been picking him up. He's starting in a couple of teams, but this is a good matchup against the Philadelphia Eagles where you could get away with starting him.
Yeah.
So I would start him too. This game also, I don't know if you said it, has a 48-point over-under, so there are points to be scored. This is I'm surprised this game doesn't have a higher over-under, especially if Matt Stafford comes back.
Which game is that?
Lions at Redskins, 41.5-point over-under.
Oh, that's gross.
It is a gross game, very gross game. But
It's supposed to rain too on Sunday.
The Lions are
They do score a lot.
are scoring a lot. Matt Stafford, if he plays, is a start for me.
Agreed.
He would be at this point. I don't know if he's on your waiver wire, but if he's available, you can probably stream him and get away with it. Now, the question of, and we can just skip over Haskins. He did throw 2 touchdowns last
He
week.
did. Clutch. 2 touchdowns, 5 interceptions in the year.
Yeah, but he didn't have a chance in the other 2 games.
Yeah, I know.
Anyway,
He didn't even have a chance.
So let's talk
He only
about
threw 2 touchdowns.
Let's talk about both of these backfields are kind of muddied. So we have Bo Scarborough, Ty Johnson, J.D. McKissick. I don't know.
I'm not starting any.
So I've seen
If
a
I
team in
can.
our league pick up Ty Johnson, start him, drop
Yes.
him, pick up J.D. McKissick, start him, drop him, and now they're on to Bo Scarborough. And
It seemed like
you've
Bo
been
had
through. So he was not on the team last week. They signed him, and then
signed
gave
and
him
then
14
and then
touches.
gave him the biggest workload.
Because
makes
McKissick can't run. He cannot run on the ground. He's terrible. So they're just
But he could get 6 catches a game.
they're just giving it to him. Yeah, he can get 6. That's what I was going to say. Just giving it to him in the passing game. He gets 6 catches a game. So Ty Johnson's not getting any work anymore. 46 attempts for 159 yards, kind of terrible.
Yeah, that's not good.
So to me, the obvious choice here is probably Bo.
If you're gonna, if you have to for some odd reason start one of
It's
these guys,
Washington, so it's like
then yeah, start Bo.
it's a cute matchup. Ugh. And now let's talk about the other one, the other terrible backfield. We got Peterson, Geis, right?
Yeah.
Geis last week didn't get a lot of work, but with what he had, he showed flashes of what we want.
On the season,
Geis
he
to
has
be.
17 carries, 42 yards, which is gross.
Terrible.
But that was mostly because I think the first week
It was against the Eagles.
he had 10 carries for like 11 yards.
Yeah.
Something like that.
He was
So
against
this
the
week he
Eagles.
actually did okay.
I sold him for Kenny Galladay, I believe.
That was a good trade.
Yeah. But I like Geis a lot. I want him to succeed. He's a likable character. But I don't know if they're going to give him more work this week.
I feel like they're going to split it with him and Peterson because that's what they did this week.
because the Lions have had one of the worst rush defenses
Yeah.
in the NFL. So Peterson's not a start. He's terrible. He's bad. He's old. He can't run.
Wow,
don't start him.
Gosh, that was hateful.
And then you have Geis, who, and I loved Peterson back in the day. You know me. Darius Geis has this conundrum where he doesn't get any touches. So if you want to start Geis this week and take the risk.
Again, it's similar to Bo, where if you have to start somebody, I would start Darius Geis because I think he has the highest ceiling in that backfield on a good matchup, but I really am not that comfortable starting any of these guys.
Okay, Galladay, Marvin Jones, starting both?
If Stafford plays, yes.
Okay, and then McLaren is the only fantasy wide receiver option that is out there, and he's been very bad the last couple weeks. If we see improved play from Dwayne Haskins over the next couple weeks, I could see Terry McLaren ascend into the play that he will normally have, but we don't see that happening. I think that's all for the game unless you wanted to talk about anyone else.
Neither tight ends.
Raiders at Jets, 46.5 point over under. We got Derek Carr. We got Sam Darnold. Carr is a good streaming option this week, and Darnold's a good streaming option this week. Darnold had 29 fantasy points last week. 29. Yeah. He finally had a good game. He's at home against one of the worst pass defenses in the NFL this year. This is a great game for Sam Darnold to establish himself finally as a good quarterback in the NFL.
Which means he'll probably get 15 fantasy points.
But knowing the Jets and Sam Darnold, he'll probably get 15 fantasy points.
I have a bad feeling about this week for the Jets.
Yeah, it's just...
You know what? I just looked the weather, too. It's going to rain. 95% chance of rain.
So bad.
Which means, imagine it's a sloppy, wet game.
Am I the only one excited to see potentially the Raiders in the playoffs?
I think you
with John Gruden.
I think you're the only one other than Raiders fans.
I saw they won on Monday night.
Actually, I would like to see John Gruden in the playoffs.
Or
That'd
Monday
be funny.
Night Football. That's what I'm saying.
That'd be hilarious. But him on the sideline in a wild card game, just giving the angry
nasty look.
Yeah,
they get
chewing gum.
They get smoked by the Chiefs, and he's just so pissed
down
about
40
it.
at halftime.
He just got. I saw him on I can't remember if it was Thursday night or Monday night or Sunday night. It was a night game, and they beat. I believe it was Denver. And they were in Oakland, and he was.
That was opening night.
No, it wasn't opening night.
They beat Denver at home on opening night.
Maybe it wasn't Denver. I know it was it was 1 or 2 weeks ago. But he got lit with the fans. He was running up and down and hugging everyone, and I'm like, this guy is ridiculous.
Oh yeah, I know what game you're. It was the Chargers.
Yeah. So you want to start Derek Carr against the Jets?
Yeah. Okay. I mean, with the rain is kind of. But these are still both good streaming options. I'd be careful about how badly it rains. I would keep that in mind.
Right.
If it's do you remember the game in Washington earlier this year where it was San Fran versus Washington?
Yeah.
And it was just puddles on the field and stuff.
Yeah.
If it's gonna pour like that, I would try not to start either of those guys.
See, for fantasy purposes, I tend not to follow the weather unless it's extreme.
Well, that's why I said
conditions.
if it's gonna be crazy rain, if it's just regular rain, you'll be fine.
I get these questions on Twitter. Should I start this guy? I'm not really sure because it's raining. It's raining. I'm like, who the frick cares if it's raining?
Yeah, but quarterbacks, dude, it does.
I understand
because the ball
that.
slips,
but this
and the
person
teams
was
tend to
asking
run
about
the ball.
Deshaun Watson.
Oh yeah, I would start Watson no matter what.
I'm like, I don't care who it is in the rain.
But if it's a streaming quarterback option,
oh Lord,
and rain makes a difference in teams' games plans, I think you should take that into consideration.
Anyway, Josh Jacobs is a start.
Yep.
Le'Veon Bell is a start.
Yep.
Tyrell Williams, do you like him against the Jets?
Against the Jets, I do.
Okay. And then we have on the other side Jamison Crowder, Robbie Anderson. Robbie Anderson is becoming a boom.
Or bust.
He reminds me very much of Marquise Brown in a way.
A little bit, yeah.
Because
the veteran, Hollywood Brown.
Yeah, the veteran Hollywood Brown. Hollywood Brown has these massive games where he catches 4 passes, but it's 120 yards and 2 touchdowns, and it's just Jamison Crowder does that same exact thing. Doesn't get a lot of receptions, but does do a lot with what he gets.
Yeah.
So he could have a big game. I would throw him in the same conversation as Mia Cole Hardman. I'm throwing out a lot of rookies right now because he plays like a rookie all the time. Jamison Crowder, do you like him against the Raiders?
As long as it's not insanely pouring, it's the same thing. As long as it's just fine with like the rain is just regular rain, yeah, I would start Crowder this week against the Raiders.
And then Chris Herndon, parentheses, Ryan Griffin,
Same person.
Same person. Start?
Of course.
All right, and then the Walrus. You probably already start. Jaguars at Titans, 41 point over-under. You got Nick Foles, who had a generic, I think he had 18 fantasy points this week. Yeah, a generic game.
Is going to probably be him for the whole rest of the season.
Yeah.
Which means he's a streaming option.
Yes. But I'm going to say, okay, so against Tennessee, it's obviously a sucky matchup.
Yeah. I'm not going to start.
Sorry, I literally saw, there's a guy in college football. His name is Jameis. Spelled the exact same way as Winston. And it's Jameis Wiseman, I believe. So I saw a tweet that said he's going to miss 12 games, and I was like, what? Jameis Winston's going to miss 12 games. It's James Wiseman. And, it just looks like Jameis Winston at a glance. It really does. I was like, wow. Oh, there goes that. Anyway, Nick Foles against Tennessee, bad matchup.
Yeah, bad matchup.
Ryan Tannehill against Jacksonville. No.
Probably not.
Then we got Fournette start, and then Derrick Henry start. Do you have any concerns about either one of these guys?
Last time these two teams faced off, I think both
they thought Derrick
Henry
Henry was going to have a monster.
Yeah, both running backs blew the whole game. I think Fournette saved it, though, because he had like that 80-yard run in the fourth quarter.
It was also on Thursday night.
Yeah, that is true.
To reference the Thursday night hole.
I think this could be this feels like a 13-10 game.
I do want to say this. You got a big week from Chark. You're feeling really good. You're 26 points. Let's go.
Oh, let's go, DJ Chark.
Then he plays Tennessee and gets 5. Oh, yeah. That's what's going to happen this week.
Very much see that happen.
Watch D.D. Wetchbeck.
And I love Chark.
Get like 15 fantasy points. Just because. So, I mean, do you sit DJ Chark this week, or do you have to start him?
I think if you have a better option, you can sit him. But though after the week he had, it's hard to sit him.
Okay. And then we got A.J. Brown, Corey Davis on the other side. Neither one of them is startable.
I hate both.
And then the ever-elusive Jonnu Smith, not in terms of regular football, in terms of getting fantasy points when you tell people to start him. I don't really like him this week.
Yeah, I don't either.
Let's talk about Cowboys. Cowboys at the Patriots. We got the Dak attack, who I'm going to save for us to talk about later.
We'll talk about that later.
We'll talk about that later. And then we have on the other side Tommy B against Dallas.
Who I also want to talk about later.
Yeah, that's also not a great matchup. So quarterbacks in this game don't play. Ezekiel Elliott is a monster.
Yeah.
Everyone's nervous about the Patriots. I just want to note this. Against one of the best rush defenses in the NFL earlier in the season, he ran 20 times for 119 yards. I think he'll be okay. He's Zeke. And he also reported, I guess it's reported today. I own Zeke and Leonard Fournette in the league, so
when you say okay, he'll be okay.
He'll be okay. I'm not projecting a 20-point game for him.
But you think he'll get like 15?
Maybe 12 to 15 probably. Yeah. I don't expect
especially like in a half PPR setting. I don't think he's going to be able to run very well this week.
Yeah.
But he'll get like 4 or 5 like he'll do enough in the passing game that I think he'll get like 15 points.
Now Zeke is apparently mad at himself for running the ball so bad the last couple weeks. Lay off the Chick-fil-A and
is he not eating
football.
Chick-fil-A this week? Is that what's going to happen?
Yeah, that's probably why he's not playing well. No, so he's frustrated with himself. Well. So let's see if an angry Zeke is a good Zeke.
We'll see.
And then some people have been talking about, there have been rumblings about Pollard being a startable option for teams. I've heard a couple of people say, well, you could start, not against New England, but in the future you could start Pollard. So we'll talk about that in future weeks because they say he's going to get more passing yards. But he had 10 snaps last week. Like, let's relax, people.
Like, if somebody gets 10 snaps
before you start saying to start,
you probably shouldn't start him.
Yeah. Anyway, Michelle.
I don't like Michelle this week. Okay. Sorry.
And then James White. Yeah, no. We have Julian, Mohamed Sanu.
Yeah.
Julian against. Julian Edelman's always going to get 12 targets.
Yeah, Julian Edelman will be fine.
He's going to get 12 targets. He's a safety blanket for Brady. So he'll get 12 targets, 8 catches, like 75 yards, and that's enough to get him to like 10 to 12 fantasy points, which I'm very happy with. I'll stick with it. So I would be okay starting Julian this week, even though it's a bad matchup. If you have Sanu, sit his Batusker on the bench. Do not start him.
Yeah.
Cooper had a bad week last week. He's facing New England again. If there's any week he has a terrible week again, it would be this one.
Yeah.
Anyone else in the world, I would, purely out of sheer need, you probably can't bench Amari Cooper. But you can bench Michael Gallup and Randall Cobb. Do not pick them up, go, wow, they had great weeks, and then start them.
Yeah, don't do that.
And then, unless you want to talk about the tight ends,
No, you're sitting both.
Yeah, it's a bad week. Packers at 49ers, which is now the new Sunday night game, which is good.
This is going to be a fantastic
Makes me very
game.
happy.
9-1 Niners versus the 8-2 Packers.
And it's a number one in the conference game. So this could
winner gets the bye pretty much.
Well, they both are probably going to get a bye. I'm talking.
Well, I don't know if
home field
if the Packers lose and go 8-3, they might not be, or even if the 49ers lose and go 9-2, they might not even win the division. So one of these teams is going to really this doesn't seem like a crazy important game, but this is a pretty important game for both these teams.
And San Francisco lost this past. When did they lose?
They lost to Seattle 2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago?
On Monday Night Football.
For some reason, I thought
they played Arizona this week.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I watched that game very closely and was very angry. Anyway, Aaron Rodgers against San Francisco is a sit. Jimmy Garoppolo against Green Bay is a sit.
Yep, I agree.
And then even though Green Bay has kind of been trending in the opposite direction against quarterbacks, Green Bay's still a top 12 pass defense against quarterbacks. Aaron Jones and Jamal Williams, what do you do?
You start Aaron Jones because he's been a top 5 running back, but I don't like it. And then Jamal Williams, I would sit.
Okay. My big thing, so they both get about 15 to 16 touches a game, both Aaron Jones and Jamal Williams. Aaron Jones is obviously the better running back, so he does more with it. Mm-hmm. But Jamal Williams getting those touches against a bad matchup, he'll probably get 8 points. But if you desperately need a flex, that's...
Yeah, and even then, I don't love it. Not against San Fran.
And then on the other side, we got Coleman, Breida. Coleman, I would think is a start, and then Breida, I would even maybe start against Green Bay. Green Bay's been one of the worst running backs. So
if you need Breida,
the breakout of Debo Samuel, one of our writers, Adam Hutchison, is got a chubby for Debo. So
I don't blame him.
Yeah, he loves Debo Samuel. He's very in on the second half of the year breakout. I really like Debo Samuel as well, but this matchup freaking blows.
I was going to say, I'll talk about that later.
So I don't like it. George Kittle start, and then
if he plays.
And then Devontae Adams is going to play, so start him. Outside of that, unless you really are obsessed with Alan Lazard, stay away from that. And then Ravens at Rams. The final game of the week, Monday Night Football. Didn't realize this was a Monday Night Football game because I do have a defense on Monday Night Football. Let's get it. I love having defenses on Monday night.
Look at you.
We'll see what happens. So we have Lamar Jackson, monster, start him. Jared Goff, not monster, at home, sit him.
At home, sit him. Wow, haven't heard that.
Yeah.
The way he's played this year, though?
Yeah, he's garbage.
Yeah.
Baltimore has been absolutely spectacular against the passing game over the last 5 weeks. Since they traded for Marcus Peters.
Yeah.
And they've been very good. So I don't really like much of the Rams this week. But anyway, we have Mark Ingram on the other side. Do you like Mark Ingram against Los Angeles?
It's okay.
He just came off a 22-point week. This is totally a week where he gets 7 points.
This is also two pretty good, really good defenses going at it.
That's true. You have Gurley for the Rams.
Yeah, similar to
Gurley.
I don't like Gurley either this week, but he's Gurley, so you're starting him.
See,
he's coming off an 18-point week.
He got 18 points, but last year I would have been he's Gurley, start him. This year I'm do you really start him?
Yeah, you do.
All right. It just depends. Is he going to get 20 touches or is he going to get 12 touches and Jared Goff's going to be throwing 14 picks?
Well.
Yeah. I guess it's okay to start Gurley. I guess you need him. Marquise Brown sit. Mark Andrews. I'm not going to tell you to sit him again. I do it every week and I just get burned. So whatever. This is the week where he gets 8. I promise. Cooper Kupp, Robert Woods, Brandon Cooks. Cooper Kupp's in. Robert Woods might still be out for personal reasons. Don't know what those personal reasons are. I hope he plays this week. Brandon Cooks is out still.
Is that confirmed?
Yes.
Okay.
And then Gerald, I believe it's confirmed. Don't quote me on it. Gerald Everett at tight end. Do you like him?
I don't.
Okay. So, yeah, there's not really any Rams I want this week.
Okay.
That will do it for the Monday Night Football.
Watch the Rams kill the Ravens.
Yeah, watch.
Go off.
That's exactly what always happens. Let's move into our starts and sits and try to rapidly get through these to finish the show as we are overtime again.
What a shock.
What a shock. It's always the first game. You just got to get the first game out of the way.
We know it was really the first 2 games I think we spent about 20 minutes on.
Yeah, and it was gross. Matt Ryan versus Tampa Bay is my start quarterback of the week. I love Matt Ryan against Tampa Bay. He's been relatively decent this year. He's probably been in and out of your starting lineup because he's been up and down all year. So I would start Matt Ryan against Tampa. And then Dak Prescott at New England. This is a game that we both agreed on. I don't know if you changed your sit quarterback.
I did.
You did. Okay, so this is one we can talk about for like 2 seconds. Dak is the number 3 quarterback in fantasy this year.
Uh-huh.
And you're going to feel like very gross sitting Dak Prescott. As a Dak Prescott owner, only Dak Prescott owners know how
it's smart.
feels.
It's so smart.
It is a wise decision to go out on the waiver wire, pick up Sam Darnold, pick up Baker Mayfield, Jameis Winston's available, maybe even Jameis Winston, Matt Stafford, like somebody else. Because if
you have Matt Ryan on your team,
you're going to be mad if Dak gets 25 points and Baker gets 20. And you're going to be like, oh my, should have started Dak Prescott. The way I'm looking at it this is the way I'm looking at it. I'm going to stream a quarterback this week because I don't trust any quarterback against New England. New England averaged 7 fantasy points. 7 fantasy points against quarterbacks.
Other than if you take out Lamar Jackson, who I know went off against New England, but he's gone off against everybody in the league this year. If you would have taken him out, not a single quarterback in fantasy this year has done anything.
I just don't know if Dak Prescott is even remotely close to matchup proof. We had that one game, the hardest game of his season against the Green Bay Packers defense, who was playing very well at the time. It was like a top 5 against quarterbacks defense. He had 25 fantasy points.
Yeah.
Against New England, I don't think that trend changes, but this is the way that I look at it. You stream a quarterback, you get the points that you need from your quarterback. If Dak ends up having a really good game, then okay, he had a really good game against New England.
Matchup proof.
I can start him against other guys. Yeah. So I'm sitting Dak Prescott this week because it's late in the season. You're fighting for your playoff hopes, or maybe you're fighting for your bye week if your league has one. But these are very important wins.
Everyone take it from me. Last week I chose to keep my starter in and ride or die, and I had Josh Allen sitting on my bench who got 36 points.
You couldn't sit.
I should have. I thought about it, and I was like, that would be smart.
But you don't sit a top 3 quarterback.
And in my head, well, you're doing it this week, aren't you?
Yeah, but Dak Prescott, if you go on fantasypros.com, they rank him like 7 rest of season, whereas Deshaun Watson is ranked 3rd rest of season. So it's like you kind of have to start. There's not a lot of teams that I would say bench Deshaun Watson. Like now, I am morally conflicted that I'm sitting Dak Prescott this week. I don't like it, but it's.
I know. Well, that's why. That's why I wanted to sit Deshaun Watson.
This is the problem.
And I was like, I can't do it. He's just Deshaun Watson.
I spent the entire offseason. I knew this was going to happen. It's easier said than done, and I'll talk about it all next offseason. This is why streaming quarterbacks is the way you should go, because you run into this situation where I lost a playoff game last year because I basically rode or died with Andrew Luck, and he scored 9 points in my playoff game. 9 points. And I'm bitter. Yes, but I'm like, you stream quarterbacks. If you get like Mahomes or you're gonna. Or Lamar. I guarantee you, unless you have Mahomes, Lamar, or one of the top 3 quarterbacks. I picked up Dak, and he's been playing like a top 3 quarterback. So as of right now, I'm okay. But I'm next couple weeks because it's bad matchups. I'm streaming. But you stream the whole season, you're gonna get it right 9 times out of 10. Sometimes you might have a crap game, but if
you'll have your Gardner Minshew.
You'll have your Gardner Minshew. But you're not going to have these situations where you go, oh my God, I have Deshaun Watson against a really good defense.
And I have Josh Allen on my bench against Miami.
You don't run into that
Yep.
situation. And if you're really good at streaming, like I think I did, I went back and I checked all of my streaming options for the entire season, and I've hit on I've hit on just about at least one guy because at the beginning of the season we gave like 2 or 3. But since we started giving one like 7 weeks ago, I've hit basically every single time on the streamer to get 20 or more fantasy points. So it's like streaming quarterbacks ain't hard. It's not a hard thing that you just got to pick the right guy.
Yeah.
Now Baker's going to get 12 points this week just to like slap me in the face
at home against Miami.
But it's like when you look at this whole situation, streaming quarterbacks is the way to go because you don't run into that situation where you just got to stick with them. Even Mahomes.
Yeah.
16 points this week. That probably costed people some games. Even though, 16 points is good for Baker Mayfield. You probably looked at Mahomes and was like, why didn't I get
more?
I drafted him with a second-round pick. Why didn't I get 25?
Yeah.
But you had to ride with him because it's Mahomes, right? So, anyway, that's why I stream quarterbacks. Or I try to stream quarterbacks, but I'm an idiot, and I just fall into the abyss of running with a quarterback the rest of the season. Go ahead with your starts and sits.
We actually had we had all the same starts, and we had 2 of the same sits.
Yeah.
So I had to change a lot. So my original start was Matt Ryan as well.
Yeah.
I switched it, kept the same game, Jameis Winston. I think the game's going to be a shootout, which means Jameis Winston's going to throw the ball 60 times.
Unless it's
so you know what that
too
means.
hard.
It's indoors. So.
Oh, sorry.
Perfect weather for throwing the football.
Okay, go ahead.
And then my sit, I'm also staying in the same game. And this was not intentional, but Tom Brady, I know it's at home, which he does typically do better at home.
Yeah.
But this just feels like another 17-10 game, like it was last week, Patriots Eagles.
It'll be gross.
It's going to be like a gross, rainy, disgusting football game.
Let's go, Pates. Let's go.
Yeah, and Brady hasn't really been a good fantasy option lately anyway.
Start of the week at running back for me is Jalen Samuel against Cincinnati. Cincinnati has been very bad against running backs this year. Jalen Samuels is the only guy. The problem is that you're sitting there thinking, oh my God, I've started him before and he just sucks. And he might have a bad week. But it's a good matchup.
It's a great matchup.
He's on the road, which sucks, but he's basically like right now the only option on the team. So
yeah, I think
he very well might get 10 targets in this game.
Yeah, if if James Conner does not play this week, I think Jalen Samuels is a fantastic play.
And then my sit is Jamal Williams against San Francisco.
Okay. And my start might come out of the left field a little bit, is Kareem Hunt against Miami.
Interesting.
I think the Browns, for once this season, has a chance to really control the game. And if that happens, they might be able to use Kareem Hunt a little bit more in a great matchup. The Dolphins have struggled this year against running backs. So if you have Kareem Hunt on your team, I think you should start him. And my sit is any of the Colts running backs because I do not know if they're going to use any of them.
Sounds good.
Or which ones they will use.
My starter wide receiver, Allen Robinson against the Giants. I know it hurts. I know he's been up and down, but if there's any week that you could probably have a good game, it's against the Giants. And then my sit at wide receiver is Golden Tate at Chicago. Chicago has been very good against wide receivers. It's kind of against the passing game in general. It's kind of the only thing they've been good at on defense this year. But Golden Tate is a sit.
My start of the week at wide receiver is Calvin Ridley. He's playing against the Buccaneers at home, who are the worst defense against wide receivers this season. And with Hooper still out, he's probably going to get like 10 targets, or at least a lot of targets. And then my sit is Deebo Samuel. I know the hype is real. I love the kid too, but it's not a good matchup. And if one of George Kittle or Emmanuel Sanders comes back, that will take targets away from him. So everybody's riding the train right now. I get it. I like him too, but don't start him this week.
My start tight end of the week,
Chris Herndon,
is Chris Herndon / Ryan Griffin.
The ghost of Chris Herndon.
The ghost of Chris Herndon. Ryan Griffin versus Oakland. Start him. Okay. And then my sit is Noah Fant at Buffalo. He came off 7 points. The owner of Noah Fant's probably going to be like, the breakout game's coming. It's not. I'm sorry. Against Buffalo. Sit him.
Yeah, we actually had the exact same tight ends as well. So pretty much everybody we're saying this week we agree upon.
That's a first.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if you'll agree with this. My start of the week at tight end, another
O.J.
Browns
Howard.
player, David Njoku. He's expected to make his return this week.
Yeah, no, I don't like that.
But he's home against the Miami Dolphins.
Who cares?
In his last game, his only game he played this year, he had 12 fantasy points.
All right.
I'll take it. In a week, you took my guy, okay? And my sit at tight end, you'll probably like this one, is Gerald Everett against the Ravens on Monday Night Football.
I picked up a QB3 this week, and I'm playing him.
You picked up a QB3 and you're playing him?
Yeah, Baker Mayfield. He's number 22
I know, that
right
just
now.
sounds so gross coming out of my mouth.
Well, I guess that's a QB2.
Depending on if you're in a 10-team league, what one quarterback.
Anyway, who's your sit? I'm sorry, I missed it.
Gerald Everett against the Ravens, tight end.
Okay. I guess I'll do it for our starts and sits and our matchup breakdowns for the week. Don't forget to check out our website at thefantasychampions.com. Like us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all the social media platforms. And see you on Tuesday, Fantasy Champs. Enjoy your friggin' weekend.
Peace out.
Thank you for listening to the Fantasy Champions Podcast. Make sure you subscribe on iTunes and YouTube and follow us on Twitter at TheFFChamps.